Good afternoon. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the installation of the Phi Beta Kappa Society's Theta Chapter of Florida at Rollins College. Today we will receive our charter, establishing our new chapter, and induct our inaugural class of students. It is my privilege to open this ceremony of installation. My name is Donald Davison, Professor of Political Science and President-elect of the Theta Chapter of Florida. Reverend Katrina Jenkins, Dean of Religious Life, will deliver our invocation.
Good afternoon. Please join me in the spirit of prayer. Most gracious one, we thank you for this time of gathering, of celebration, of new beginnings, of recognition of education and scholarship in the highest realm. Blessings on the hands who labored many years to make our Phi Beta Kappa chapter come into existence. May we all come to appreciate the hard work that went into this effort. May we reflect on the words that will be rendered on this special occasion. And finally, may we continue to proudly stand behind our students as a cloud of witnesses. Fiat lux and amen.
I want to begin first by thanking my faculty and staff colleagues, trustees, parents, guests, alumni, and friends for joining us today as we mark a momentous event in the history of Rollins College. First, I want to welcome Frederick Lawrence, Secretary of the Phi Beta Kappa Society. Also joining us is Dr. Peter Quimby, President of the Phi Beta Kappa Society, and Dr. Wendy Dunn. Dr. Wendy Dunn is professor of psychology at Coe College and was the chair of the visitation committee, the visitation team that spent 3 days on campus interviewing faculty members and leadership of the Rollins community as part of the 3-year process of evaluating our application. Also in attendance that I would like to greet and thank for coming are Dr. Lisa Bonner, professor of chemistry and president of, president of the Phi Beta Kappa chapter at Eckerd College. Also joining us is Dr. Christopher Bell, associate professor of religious studies and president of the Phi Beta Kappa chapter at Stetson University. Okay, on behalf of my Rollins colleagues, welcome and thank you for joining us. I also want to offer special greetings to the Honorable Bill Frederick, former mayor of the city of Orlando, as well as former chair of the Rollins College Board of Trustees. Harold Ward, former chair of the Board of Trustees, and Libby Ward are also here, both members of Phi Beta Kappa from the University of Chicago and the College of William and Mary, respectively. I also have 2 individuals I'd like to thank personally. Lori Kyle, who is absolutely indispensable with organizing the details of this celebration. This is not my strong point, let me say. I also want to recognize and thank Joan Davison, professor of political science, who has been my partner for 40 years. Preparing a Phi Beta Kappa application is a little bit of a project. All right, it's a 3-year, it's a very intensive, rigorous review, and that the institution benefits from. So it's very, very hard doing it once. Doing it twice is probably crazy. But my wife and distinguished professor, was with me every step of the way, and so I want to thank her so very much. Preparing Rollins College application for a Phi Beta Kappa chapter allowed me to examine each functional area of the institution. It gave me an appreciation of Rollins' ambitious purpose, and history. Reviewing documents, collecting data, searching for other documents begat a curiosity about previous presidents and significant events in the history of Rollins College and other notable liberal arts colleges in the country. Notable, of course, is the influence of John Dewey. Dewey chaired the first Rollins College colloquy nearly 100 years ago in 1931. A primary outcome of the colloquy was agreement that the mission of liberal education is to prepare citizens for democracy by making them thoughtful, able to communicate their needs and aspirations to political leaders, and capable of holding office holders accountable. Today, this purpose has great urgency. Rollins' curriculum historically has been committed to developing cosmopolitan citizens, and it must continue to address responsible citizenship at the local, national, and global levels. Perhaps less known is the college's relationship with Zora Neale Hurston. Coming from Eatonville, Florida, adjacent to Winter Park and Rollins, Hurston created a prolific set of productions, stories, songs, and tales, but found it difficult to obtain financial support in the 1930s. One of her productions, The Great Day, was limited to a single performance at the New School for Social Research in New York City. The play featured black laborers in a Florida railroad camp exchanging stories and songs from African American folklore mixed with Americanized revisions. She returned to Eatonville penniless. Following her return, Hurston contacted several Rollins faculty members who supported her work. The faculty convinced President Hamilton Holt to hold the production on campus for faculty, students, and the community of Winter Park and Central Florida. Remember that Jim Crow's presence was still strongly felt in Florida. Yet Rollins sponsored Hurston's production. Dewey and Hurston helped me better understand that the purpose of a liberal arts college and its curriculum is not for the private advantage and enjoyment of its recipients. Instead, liberal education is designed to uncover what is meant by great values such as justice, fairness, equity, and the common good, and to use that knowledge for the betterment of society. Liberal education is designed to enable a thinking person to be at home in all lands and all ages, William DeWitt Hyde wrote in 1903 at Bowdoin. Receiving a Phi Beta Kappa chapter affirms Rollins' history and mission. It also occurs at a perilous moment when many of these values are questioned and free inquiry is threatened. We teach critical thinking. I oftentimes ask my students, what do they think critical thinking means? They have very good answers. They will say, it's a deep examination of an idea. It is a close textual reading of original works. Both of those are excellent answers, but I would add one more. Critical thinking is the willingness to change your mind based upon evidence. Liberal education opens one's mind to new ideas, which can be transformative, but it sometimes requires courage, as during the Jim Crow era, and it also sometimes requires vision, as inspired by Dewey. The Phi Beta Kappa chapter at Rollins should be thought of as an invitation to all of our students to allow themselves to be changed through liberal education. Thank you very much. I now invite our distinguished guest, Frederick Lawrence, Secretary of the Phi Beta Kappa Society, to come to the podium.
Thank you, Dr. Davison. This is a day in which you particularly should take pride. I know you would be the first one to say that this was a team effort, bringing a Phi Beta Kappa chapter to Rollins College, and that is certainly true, but every team needs a good captain, and in you, the Rollins chapter has got a good captain. Congratulations, Don. President Cornwell, thank you for your graciousness and hospitality in welcoming us to your beautiful campus, even providing for a couple of northern boys like Peter Quimby and me a beautiful Florida early spring couple of days here. Honored guests, my fellow members of Phi Beta Kappa, and none of the people I have just acknowledged will be the least bit disappointed if I say most especially our newest members who will be inducted today and join Phi Beta Kappa. It's my great privilege to be with you today here at Rollins College. The roots of Phi Beta Kappa are nearly as old as our nation's, with our founding dating back to the cold winter night of December 5th, 1776 at the College of William and Mary. You will hear more about the origin story of Phi Beta Kappa in the induction ceremony that will follow the installation of this chapter. But let me say now that today we are a part of a process that began nearly 250 years ago. The founders of the first chapter at the College of William and Mary extended permission to begin new chapters to individuals first at Yale and then at Harvard in 1780 and 1781. Had they not done so, we would not be here today, because as you will hear, it was not long thereafter that the British occupied Williamsburg during the Revolutionary War, burned it to the ground, and the chapter at William and Mary was suspended for some time. The motto of the state of Connecticut is, "One who transplants sustains." And that is a pretty good motto to drive the work of Phi Beta Kappa as well. And that transplanting from the first chapter continues today to the most recent seed, if you will, here in Winter Park, Florida. For our first century, that's how Phi Beta Kappa grew, chapter by chapter. And then in 1883, not long before the founding of this school, the existing 25 chapters created the United Chapters of Phi Beta Kappa, the forerunner to today's Phi Beta Kappa Society. Since 1883, representatives of each of the constituent groups of the Phi Beta Kappa family have gathered every 3 years to select new chapters. These events, what we call triennial councils, have continued in person every 3 years since 1883 until last year, when COVID made it impossible for us to meet in person. But we would not be daunted. We met virtually, and it's a good thing for us and a good thing for you that we did, because it was at that triennial, meeting remotely, that the council approved last August our 291st chapter to be sheltered here at Rollins College. Yeah, that's an applause line. Go ahead. You can. There'll be lots of applause lines. This is one of the happy ones. As Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the Phi Beta Kappa Society, I have been granted the authority by that triennial council of the Phi Beta Kappa Society to act on its behalf today in overseeing the installation of this chapter, the Theta of Florida chapter of Phi Beta Kappa. This is a happy and momentous occasion in the life of this institution and of this community. The installation of this chapter is the result of years of effort. And as Don said, it is quite a process. It is an effort by many college faculty and staff who themselves are Phi Beta Kappa members. But in a broader sense, it is also a result of the labor and accomplishment of all of the faculty, administration, staff, students, alumni, and supporters who have created at Rollins College a rigorous academic community with a deep commitment to excellence in the liberal arts and sciences that Phi Beta Kappa embodies and seeks to foster. We trust that the installation of this chapter fulfills the hopes imagined by all who have served this cause with such dedication, such commitment, and such inspiration. Since our founding nearly a quarter of a millennium ago, Phi Beta Kappa has been dedicated to recognizing outstanding students committed to the study of the liberal arts and sciences. We celebrate inclusive excellence and champion freedom of thought, inquiry, and expression, and we hold intellectual curiosity in the highest regard. We are delighted to recognize and celebrate these hallmarks of your institution. Rollins is guided by the pillars of excellence, innovation, and community. You value diversity of thought and tradition and have dedicated the institution's work to providing a rigorous and transformative education in the liberal arts and sciences. These principles are fully consonant with the values that have been sustained by Phi Beta Kappa over the centuries, the values that have never been more urgent and compelling than they are at this time in our moment today. It is thus with great pride that I announce that the Governing Council of Phi Beta Kappa, having carried out a rigorous process of evaluation, is assured that Rollins College embraces and upholds the highest academic standards in an ongoing commitment to excellence in the teaching and learning of the liberal arts and sciences. The Phi Beta Kappa Triennial Council therefore voted on August 5th, 2021, that a charter be granted to the members of Phi Beta Kappa assembled here, and that in accordance with its provisions, they be empowered to function in every respect as the 291st chapter of this ancient and honorable society. Now, before we proceed to the reading of the charter, and you're not going to want to miss this, it's great reading this charter. Just count the whereases. Whoever gets closest without going over the number of whereases, wins the flowers. I want to recognize two of my colleagues who represent Phi Beta Kappa with us this afternoon. I'm very grateful to be joined by Dr. Wendy Dunn, Emerita Professor of Psychology at Coe College, now a retired member of Phi Beta Kappa's Committee on Qualifications. Wendy led the site visit team to Rollins and championed your application before the Triennial Council. I know that she joins me in offering the warmest of congratulations to you all. May I add on your behalf, and on behalf of all of the chapters with whom she has worked over her years on the Committee of Qualifications, how grateful we are to her for her service to Phi Beta Kappa. Thank you, Wendy, for your tireless work ethic, your unfailing good humor, and your deep and abiding commitment to excellence. I am also grateful to be joined by Dr. Peter Quimby, Phi Beta Kappa's president, the title we give to our board chair, the chair of our governing board, the Phi Beta Kappa Senate. Dr. Quimby is a graduate of Bowdoin College, magna cum laude, and as you would suspect, Phi Beta Kappa. He holds a PhD in political science from the University of Wisconsin. After holding leadership positions at Wisconsin, as well as Princeton and Yale, he became head of school at the Governor's Academy in Massachusetts. Peter's leadership in the arts and sciences spans decades, as does his devotion to Phi Beta Kappa and its ideals. Dr. Quimby, would you please come forward, extend your congratulations to Rollins community, and to read the much anticipated charter of the Theta of Florida chapter.
Thank you, Secretary Lawrence, and thank you all for welcoming us so warmly to Rollins College. It is truly an honor and a pleasure to be here to celebrate this special day with you. And candidly, it's a special day for me as well, because this happy occasion represents my first ceremonial responsibilities since I was elected president of Phi Beta Kappa at the same Triennial Council at which Rollins College was awarded a chapter. And as Fred suggested, if I'm being honest, when you're from Massachusetts, it's a pleasure to be almost anywhere else in the month of March. It's been really lovely being with you. Serving as the president of the Phi Beta Kappa Society is a singular honor, and I'm tremendously grateful for the opportunity that I've been given to serve the society and its values. My father was profoundly dyslexic and never went to college, but the value of education was highly prized in our home. The path that led me from there to the position I now hold was paved by teachers and professors and mentors who encouraged me to broaden my perspectives, to challenge my assumptions, to acknowledge my privilege, and to commit to furthering the values that have been so central in my own development as a student and as an educator. I often think that the vantage point that I have on Phi Beta Kappa as a boarding school head helps me appreciate the work of the society and, by extension, its chapters even more profoundly. I see in my work every day the enormous potential that lies hidden within young people from across the country and around the globe. Some of them have not yet been told how far they can reach, have not yet been given the opportunity to discover who they are and who they have the potential to become. Sometimes students find that inspiration at the high school level, but many, many more of them discover it only when they get to college. And what better mechanism for helping them realize their dreams than a course of study that is grounded in the liberal arts and sciences? The institutions sheltering our chapters in all of their rich diversity, large and small, public and private, faith-based and non-sectarian, are the standard bearers in this commitment. And we're so pleased to add Rollins College to the Phi Beta Kappa family as you share this belief and this vision with your entire academic community, but especially with and for your students. As I look at the challenges facing our country today, it strikes me that many of the solutions can be found in the skills that are developed and cultivated through a liberal arts education. The ability to think critically and solve problems, to access and evaluate information, to apply knowledge learned in one context to an entirely different situation, the ability and willingness to consider and evaluate complex arguments, and an appreciation for the importance of listening to diverse points of view. These are the skills that prepare our students not for specific jobs, but for productive, fulfilling, and meaningful careers, and just as importantly, that instill in them a lifelong love of learning. Recognizing this same commitment present so abundantly here at Rollins College, it is my pleasure to read to you the charter establishing your Phi Beta Kappa chapter. I understand that the chapter will find its home in a prominent place in the entry to Olin Library, and I can't think of a more perfect place, as it will serve there as a visible reminder of your collective and firm commitment to the arts and sciences. As Phi Beta Kappa chapters are presented to key holders at sheltering institutions, I invite the charter members present with us now to please stand and remain standing as your name is called. Dexter Boniface, Sharon Carnahan, Hannah Carlin, Thomas Cook, Alice Davidson, Donald Davidson, Nancy Decker, Stacy Dunn, Laurel Goy Hebgood, Benjamin Hudson, Stephanie Kincaid, Ashley Kistler, Matthew Nichter, Deborah Prosser, Mackenzie Moon Ryan, Stephen St. John, Aaron Tatari, and Kara Wunderlich. The much anticipated reading of the charter now begins. Whereas the liberal principles of our society should not be confined to any particular place, person, or description of persons, but should be extended to the wise and virtuous of whatever community, and whereas we, the members of Phi Beta Kappa, as a body dedicated from its very founding in the historic year 1776 at the College of William and Mary in Virginia, to the ideal of excellence in scholarship in the field of the liberal arts and sciences, are willing and desirous to propagate the society in praiseworthy institutions of higher learning, and whereas we are satisfied that you are inspired by an unquenchable desire that your institution be added to the notable company which enjoy the recognition of Phi Beta Kappa, and we have carefully determined that your institution is possessed of the character and standing which make it particularly worthy of admittance into association and friendship. Therefore, by virtue of a resolution duly adopted by our representatives in the 46th Triennial Council of the Phi Beta Kappa Society, we have decreed the establishment at this time of a chapter of Phi Beta Kappa at Rollins College in the state of Florida, to be known as Theta of Florida. Furthermore, we have commanded that there be issued under the seal of the society and at the hands of the President and Secretary a charter in the name of Phi Beta Kappa. Accordingly, you and such others as you may hereafter elect and associate with yourselves in conformity of the law of Phi Beta Kappa, and your and their successors so elected and associated, are hereby incorporated and established as a separate and coordinate branch of the society, and are hereby granted all powers, privileges, and benefits hereunto appertaining in as full and ample measure as the members of the existing chapters enjoy. There being at the same time enjoined upon and required of you in the organization and conduct of the chapter, and as conditions upon which this charter is granted, strict compliance with the Constitution and bylaws of the Phi Beta Kappa Society, with the acts of the Council and Senate, and with the chapter constitution herewith transmitted unto you. And likewise, a devoted effort always to protect the name and the key of Phi Beta Kappa from imitation and indignities, and faithfully to promote the purposes of the society. In testimony whereof, the President and the Secretary of the Phi Beta Kappa Society have hereunto set their hands and caused to be affixed its seal this 3rd day of March in the year 2022. Congratulations. Secretary Lawrence.
Thank you, Dr. Quimby. Charter members, please remain standing. Members of the chapter being installed, I now ask whether you will accept this charter and will undertake the responsibilities its acceptance entails. If you do, please signify by saying, "We will."
We will.
I think we can do a little better than that. Please signify by saying, "We will."
We will.
That's what I'm looking for. Congratulations, you are now charter members of Rollins College's Theta chapter of Phi Beta Kappa. You may be seated, and congratulations. Please accept the gratitude of the Society for the time and effort you have invested in making this moment possible. Your work will long be remembered and will have a lasting impact here on this campus and beyond. We understand that you have selected Dr. Mackenzie Moon Ryan, Vice President-elect, to represent the charter members for this portion of the ceremony. Dr. Ryan, would you please join me at the podium? Dr. Ryan, once in the lifetime of a chapter, the charter members are authorized to elect foundation members as you organize your chapter. Have such members been elected?
They have, Secretary Lawrence. I ask that our foundation members stand as their names are called and come forward to receive your certificate, key, stole, and sign the registry of the Theta chapter of Florida of Phi Beta Kappa. Dr. Rita Bornstein. Rita Bornstein is the first woman elected to the presidency of Rollins College, serving in that office from 1990 to 2004. Her numerous journal articles, book chapters, and 4 books reflect her wide range of interests, including such topics as an interdisciplinary approach to war-peace studies, protection or liberation, the education of women, sexism in American education, and the college president as public intellectual. Dr. Bornstein holds a BA and MA degree in English literature from Florida Atlantic University and a PhD in educational leadership from the University of Miami. In addition to teaching and administration, her career includes work with the U.S. Office of Education, assisting implementation of Title IX and gender equity. She is past board chair of the Council for Advancement of Support of Education and served on boards of the Association of Governing Boards of Universities and Colleges, the American Council on Education, and the National Association of Independent Colleges and Universities. Congratulations, Dr. Bornstein. Dr. Shanestelle Brown. Shanestelle Brown is a mixed methods medical anthropologist with training in qualitative research and pedagogy on writing. Brown is a member of the anthropology department and coordinator of the Global Health Program at Rollins College. Previously, she was postdoctoral research associate in the AIDS program at the Yale School of Medicine. She received her undergraduate degree in humanities from Yale University and a Master of Arts in English with an emphasis in professional writing from Old Dominion University. She earned her doctorate in anthropology from the University of Connecticut, and she is author of Writing in Anthropology, a Brief Guide. Her research interests include conducting community-engaged research, improving patient-centered outcomes with medical technologies, understanding patients' perceptions of risk and well-being, and identifying structural facilitators and barriers to healthcare access and retention and care. She has researched these issues for genetic diseases like sickle cell disease and for infectious diseases like HIV. Congratulations, Dr. Brown. Dr. Martha Cheng. Martha Cheng holds a PhD in rhetoric from Carnegie Mellon University. Her research investigates discourse as constitutive of identity and community in the public sphere, and most recently focusing on governmental apologies for historical wrongs. She teaches courses on political speech, crisis communication, language and culture, and writing. Dr. Cheng has been recognized for her teaching, research, and service with a Cornell Distinguished Faculty Award in 2018, and she has been a member of the English department at Rollins College since 2004. Congratulations, Dr. Cheng. Dr. Grant Cornwell. Grant Cornwell is the 15th president of Rollins College. He took office as president in July 2015, following 8 years as president of the College of Worcester. Previously, he was vice president of academic affairs and professor of philosophy in St. Lawrence University in Canton, New York. Dr. Cornwell graduated with honors with majors in philosophy and in biology from St. Lawrence University. His MA and PhD are in philosophy from the University of Chicago. In addition to a body of scholarship defining liberal learning in a global environment, his research and teaching have focused on issues of racial justice and multicultural democracies. He has served on the board of directors of the National Association of Independent Colleges and Universities, the board of directors of the Association of American Colleges and Universities, and as chair of AAC&U's President's Trust, a national advocacy group for advancing liberal education. Congratulations, Dr. Cornwell. Dr. Daniel Crozier. Described as harmonically lush and lyrically soaring by the New York Times, and as having abstract elegance, structural coherence, and tender feeling by the Wall Street Journal, music by Daniel Crozier has been performed or recorded by Fort Worth Opera, the Boston Symphony Chamber Players, the Seattle Symphony, New York City Opera, the Jacksonville Symphony, the Bach Festival of Winter Park, Songfest, Windsor Music, and saxophonist Branford Marsalis. His operatic, orchestral, and solo works have been released on the Albany, ACA Digital, and Parma labels. Awards include a fellowship from the Florida Division of Cultural Affairs, an ASCAP Foundation Morton Gould Young Composers Grant, and 5 nominations for awards from the American Academy of Arts and Letters. He holds a Bachelor of Music degree from Westminster College and Master of Music and Doctor of Musical Arts degree from the Peabody Conservatory of the Johns Hopkins University. Congratulations, Dr. Crozier. Dr. Rosana Diaz Zambrana. Rosana Diaz Zambrana completed her PhD in comparative literature at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, where she was awarded distinction in her dissertation. Her passion for cultures and languages led her to study at the Complutense University of Madrid, the Pontifical Catholic University of Rio de Janeiro, and the University of Catania in Italy. She has more than 50 publications in the area of Latin American and Caribbean literature, cultural studies, and film. In 2003, she joined Rollins as the first Puerto Rican female faculty in its history, where her teaching and academic contributions has been recognized with the Arthur Vining Davis Fellowship and the Bornstein Award for Faculty Scholarship. Congratulations, Dr. Diaz Zambrana. Dr. Sabreese Garrier. Sabreese Garrier is a member of the biology department at Rollins College. He earned a PhD in pharmacology from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and was a postdoctoral fellow at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester. Following a Howard Hughes Medical Institute-funded visiting professorship at Carleton College, Sabreese joined the faculty at Millsaps College, where he earned tenure and promotion to associate professor. Dr. Garrier's teaching and scholarship focus on cell biology. Specifically, he is interested in how the shapes of cells and their compartments are determined. Congratulations, Dr. Garrier. Dr. Susan Wheeler Johnston, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today. Susan Wheeler Johnston, member of the Rollins class of 1975, has spent her entire career in higher education. She holds a PhD in English from Purdue University. After nearly 2 decades as a tenured faculty member and administrator, she moved to the Higher Education Association world in Washington, D.C. She joined the Association of Governing Boards, where for 8 years she was executive vice president. Currently, she is president and CEO of the National Association of College and University Business Officers. She has been a member of the Rollins Board of Trustees for over 10 years and is currently in her 3rd year as a board chair. Please join me in welcoming these new members.
Foundation members, please rise as you were able. You have been elected by the charter members of this chapter to become foundation members of Phi Beta Kappa in its organization and subsequent operations, a singular honor accorded only once in the life of each of the Society's chapters. Will you accept this foundation membership now offered and the responsibility that it entails? If you will, please signify by saying, and this time with gusto the first time, we will. Congratulations. On behalf of the officers and Senate of the Phi Beta Kappa Society, I declare you members of Phi Beta Kappa and welcome you as members of the nation's most prestigious academic honor society. For nearly a quarter of a millennium, the Society has been a fellowship of learners, and we are delighted to welcome you, the foundation members, into it. Congratulations to all of you. We commend your many achievements and thank you for your future contributions to the life of this chapter and to the National Phi Beta Kappa Society. Now we have just a little more business to attend to. Charter and foundation members, for the moment, you are the only members of this chapter. That will change momentarily, but for right now, you are the only members of this chapter, so we're about to do some business, and you're the only ones who get to vote. So if I catch anybody else voting, I'm not going to make any Florida jokes, I promise. And no, that was not in the script. The Phi Beta Kappa Senate provides a model constitution for the governance of chapters. I am advised that the members here have adopted a chapter constitution and agreed to conduct the business of the chapter according to its provisions. If the charter and foundation members agree, would you please signify by saying, we will? We will. The Senate also has established model chapter bylaws for each chapter's consideration. I'm advised that you have seen that document, revised it slightly in accordance with conditions on this campus, and have adopted the resulting document to govern this chapter. I now ask you, the charter and foundation members, if you will agree to govern this chapter according to those bylaws. If you will, please signify by saying, we will. We will. I would now like to ask Donald Davidson to come forward to present the chapter's charter members and to call for the election of officers. Have you names to be placed in nomination for those positions?
We do. I ask our nominees to stand as I read their names. Dr. Donald Davison, President. Okay, we're literal. Dr. Mackenzie Moon Ryan, Vice President. Dr. Benjamin Hudson, Secretary-Treasurer. Dr. Deborah Prosser, Historian. Secretary Lawrence, I move that this slate of nominees be accepted by acclamation.
It has been moved that the slate of nominees be accepted by acclamation. Is there a second to that motion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none. We will proceed to the vote. Remember, only charter and foundation members. Those in favor of the motion to approve the slate of officers by acclamation, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions? In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. You have been elected as the officers of this chapter. This is both a notable honor and a considerable task. I have to look at you while I'm doing this. As this chapter's first elected officers, you will be responsible for establishing the permanent presence of Phi Beta Kappa on this campus, defining its mission, in this community and upholding its reputation for excellence. I set before you 3 main tasks. You will be responsible for selecting new members beginning momentarily and then on into the future, and those who succeed you will continue to do so, as that book that we have just begun will have pages and pages and volumes. Second, that you should advocate vigorously and zealously for the liberal arts and sciences on this campus, in your community, and in the nation. And third, that you commit yourselves to carrying out all your responsibilities and communicate with the national office so that we may work together. If you commit yourself to these sacred tasks, please affirm by saying, "We will."
We will.
On behalf of the entire Phi Beta Kappa Society, I thank you from the bottom of our hearts. When I tell our volunteers how much we appreciate what they do, it is not a mere compliment. You are our business model. We have 500,000 members around the world, and I have 25 people who work with me in the national office. Do the arithmetic. We could not do what we do without our volunteers. We are grateful to you for what you have done. Even more so are we grateful to you for what you are about to take on. Thank you and congratulations. The chapter charter, having been duly delivered and its provisions accepted, the chapter constitution and bylaws formally established, the officers elected and confirmed, it is now my happy honor to proclaim that the Theta of Florida chapter has been formally installed. Theta of Florida now takes its place among the many distinguished chapters of the Phi Beta Kappa Society, with authorization to induct new members of Phi Beta Kappa in accordance with the Society's policies, to advocate on the Society's behalf for excellence in the liberal arts and sciences, and to serve as a force on the Rollins campus and the greater community for freedom of inquiry, freedom of expression, and the other values inherent in those studies, and to commence its operation as a chapter of Phi Beta Kappa. Today is a day for celebration and congratulations for Rollins College and for the Phi Beta Kappa Society. We join our fortune to that of this great institution, whose mission promotes global citizenship and responsible leadership as pathways to a meaningful life. The mission of a liberal arts and sciences education, for which both Rollins College and the Phi Beta Kappa Society so ardently advocate, has never been more relevant, never been more compelling, and never been more needing of defense. Study of the arts and sciences offers depth and breadth, provides space for questions and answers, and allows for diversity of thought. As a great Phi Beta Kappa member, Judge Learned Hand said in his Spirit of Liberty address during the Second World War, the spirit of liberty is the spirit that doubts its own correctness. This prepares its students well for meaningful lives, for productive lives, and for engaged lives as citizens in their local, national, and international community. These are long-lasting virtues that we espouse together. And here today, Rollins College links itself with this academic honor society. You now join with chapters at 290 other of the nation's most respected colleges and universities. On those campuses every year, our chapters elect about 20,000 of the top liberal arts and sciences graduates in the country to join our numbers, just under 1% of those who graduate from colleges and universities. Our membership is vast, and it includes a wide spectrum of accomplished individuals, 17 United States presidents, 42 Supreme Court justices, over 150 Nobel laureates, as well as leaders of major companies and small startups, researchers and teachers, scientists and poets, and hundreds of thousands more who put their liberal arts education to work every day for the betterment of our society and the betterment of the world around us. To the students who will be inducted momentarily, to your families and to your friends, I offer my warmest congratulations and wish you every success. As you leave this institution and advance through the various stages of your life, always embody what Phi Beta Kappa represents. Seek out a Phi Beta Kappa Alumni Association, which are not only all over this country, but around the world. During our wonderful campus tour this afternoon, I saw one of the great banners that you put up for Phi Beta Kappa. Grant, your team did a fabulous job here. And I put it out on Twitter, and the first place it got retweeted was by the London Association of Phi Beta Kappa. Now, admittedly, they're 5 hours ahead of us, but even so, it gives you a sense of our worldwide impact and the network that you now join. Find us on social media. Know that we are here with you as you take your first steps on your journey and those that follow. May your love of learning know no bounds. Let me conclude this ceremony of installation with a passage from an early ritual, ancient in our history. Let this chapter confer new distinction on the ancient and illustrious association of which it is a member. May this star shine with unsurpassed brilliancy in that splendid constellation which has poured so pure a radiance upon the literary character of our nation. With these words, we close the ceremony of installation of the Theta of Florida chapter of Phi Beta Kappa. Again, my warmest and most sincere congratulations. Welcome to the Phi Beta Kappa family.
We went through a lot of pages. Fellow members of Phi Beta Kappa, honored guests, we meet here this afternoon to receive into our society those who, having qualified for election, now wish to be admitted to its privileges and undertake its responsibilities. In a ceremony that goes back to the time of the founding of our nation, we will welcome them into an association with all those who have been members of Phi Beta Kappa in the past and into a lifelong relationship with the society today. President Quimby, Secretary Lawrence, President Cornwell, Provost Singer, members of Phi Beta Kappa and friends, I have the honor to present the following persons who, agreeable to our invitation, offer themselves for initiation. Candidates for membership in course, please stand. According to Phi Beta Kappa documents dating from 1779, the president of Alpha Chapter greeted initiates as follows. This society was founded by a few friends. At first, it was confined to a small number of very worthy students. They planted the scion from which has grown this tree that now buds forth before your eyes with blossoms of harmony and concord. It was engrafted on the stock of friendship in the soil of virtue, enriched by literature. To cherish and keep it alive hath been the constant care of those members who have succeeded. You are about to become one of those successors, and it is our fondest hope that you in turn will come to cherish the society and strive to perpetuate the spirit of this greeting. You may be seated. As is customary on this occasion, the chapter historian offers an account of the society's history. Dr. Prosser?
Good afternoon. On December 5th, 1776, a group of young men who were then studying at the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia, met to create a secret society, at once intellectual and social in purpose. The President's greeting to new members in 1779 reads in part, "Here you are to indulge in matters of speculation, that freedom of inquiry that ever dispels the clouds of falsehood by the radiant sunshine of truth." Words that resonate today, I think. In their clandestine meetings, the members seriously debated a host of questions, such as whether a wise state hath any interest nearer at heart than the education of the youth, or what the just cause of war might be. The establishment soon afterward of chapters at Yale and Harvard ensured that the Phi Beta Kappa Society would survive the arrival of British General Cornwallis's troops at Williamsburg and the duration of the Revolution. The first college society to bear a Greek letter name, Phi Beta Kappa introduced the essential characteristics of the Greek societies that followed it: an oath of secrecy, a badge, mottos in Greek and Latin, a code of laws, an elaborate form of initiation, a seal, and a handshake. The organization was created as a secret society so that its founders would have the freedom to discuss any topic they chose. Freedom of inquiry has been a hallmark of Phi Beta Kappa ever since. However, in the 1830s, when anti-Masonic agitation generated discussion about the Phi Beta Kappa oath, Harvard dropped the requirement for absolute secrecy, an action that probably saved the society from further open criticism as well as from rivalry with the social fraternities that made their appearance around that time. Chapters have been added gradually over time with great attention to merit. The number nationwide stood at 25 in 1883, when the National Council of the United Chapters of Phi Beta Kappa was created. At about the same time, in an era during which secret and exclusive societies were often bastions of discrimination, Phi Beta Kappa chose a different way. The first women and African Americans were invited to join Phi Beta Kappa in the 1870s and 1880s. Between 1887 and 1917, 64 new chapters were established, and by 1983, another 147 had been chartered. Today, Phi Beta Kappa has over 500,000 living members, elected over the years by, as of today, 291 chapters at colleges and universities across the country. More than 50 local alumni associations provide members an opportunity for a lifelong relationship with Phi Beta Kappa. Phi Beta Kappa takes pride in its origins. The Phi Beta Kappa key reproduces the design created by its founders. On the front, it bears the Greek letters Phi Beta Kappa, the initials of the words Philosophia Beu Kubernetes, meaning love of learning is the guide of life. The 3 stars in the upper left-hand corner of this side symbolize the aims of the society: friendship, morality, and literature. A pointing hand in the lower right-hand corner stands for aspiration. On the reverse side are inscribed the letters S and P, which stand for the Society's second motto, the Latin words Societas Philosophiae, meaning Society of Philosophy. Below them appears the date of the founding of the first chapter, December 5th, 1776. Although Phi Beta Kappa is now an honor society, not a secret society, tradition has preserved 2 secret signs that we still share. When members meet, They greet each other by drawing the backs of their index and middle fingers of the right hand across their lips, affirming that their lips are sealed. They follow the sign with a handshake, which will be revealed to you soon. But Phi Beta Kappa is much more than its symbols and signs. As Charles Evan Hughes, the late Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and Phi Beta Kappa member, eloquently stated, "The particular interest of Phi Beta Kappa is in liberal education. Intensive critical study of educational aims and methods has found nothing to take its place. It means the development by careful training of the capacity to appreciate what has been done and thought, the ability to make worthwhile appraisals of achievements, doctrines, theories, and proposals. It is liberal because it emancipates. It signifies freedom from the tyranny of ignorance and from, what is worse, the dominion of folly. Members of Phi Beta Kappa have turned aside from the easier paths, and by their talent and fidelity have proved themselves to be worthy. It gives the fitting recognition of a special distinction. To our inductees, this is a memorable moment. Phi Beta Kappa honors the best and brightest in the liberal arts and sciences. At Rollins College, we engage you in a mission of global citizenship and responsible leadership. The nexus between the values of Phi Beta Kappa and Rollins College is embracing excellence as a guiding principle. Today, celebrate your excellence and take it with you as you build your lives beyond Rollins College. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Prosser. Will the candidates for membership in course please rise? In accordance with the rules of this chapter, and in consequence of our good opinion of your intellectual and moral character, supported by your record of high academic attainment at this institution, you have been selected as worthy of becoming members of the Phi Beta Kappa Society. Your names have been submitted to the scrutiny of the constitutional electors of this chapter and have met with their approval. You have been formally notified of your election, and by your presence here signify your desire to be enrolled as members of this ancient and honorable academic honor society. Therefore, I now inquire, do you solemnly promise that you will be true and faithful to the Phi Beta Kappa Society, hold up its standards, obey its laws, and seek to reflect credit upon your affiliation with this venerable fellowship of learners? Please signify by promising this promise by stating we do. Each of you has now affirmed your loyalty to Phi Beta Kappa and pledge to uphold its standards. We welcome you into the ranks of membership. Dr. Hudson.
As I invite each candidate for membership to come forward, you will receive a stole to mark your achievement, which we invite you to wear at the college's graduation ceremony, the Phi Beta Kappa key, marking the quest for wisdom, and your certificate. You'll then be congratulated by President Davidson, President Quimby, and Secretary Lawrence before proceeding to assign the official registry book of the chapter. The Phi Beta Kappa book will be permanently displayed in the Olin Library for all who visit this institution to review. Isabella Damas. Jacqueline Bengson. Edward Broker. Emily Curran. Sophia Fraz. Charlotte Kelly. Griffin Lehrer. Emily Marshall. Michael McNamara. Maria Morales. Beatrice Olivieri. Rebecca Paserno. Gabrielle Quigley. Lauren Rouse. Sierra Short. Yoka Tassant. Evangelina Wong. We also have two new members who couldn't be with us here today, M. O'Malley and Matthew Willis.
Sorry, I'm new at this. So, 3. 3 is the answer. 3 whereases, 1 therefore, 1 furthermore, and 1 hereunto.
You get the flowers.
Good afternoon. I stand here with feelings of great pride, respect, humility, and gratitude. Phi Beta Kappa is emblematic of the heart and soul of Rollins College. We are many things to many people, But first and foremost, we are a liberal arts college committed to academic inquiry, scholarship, and intellectual endeavor. Inductees, I'm proud of your achievements and recognition, but I'm most proud of the way those outcomes reflect on your earnest embrace of our mission, our very reason for being. Yes, you students are super smart, and that is a quality I respect and admire. But there are more students with the intellectual horsepower to be here today than have achieved what you have. No, your achievements represent something deeper than just being smart. They represent your commitment to your academics, your work ethic and self-discipline, and most importantly, they represent your seriousness of purpose. You value what we're here to do, and you have done it with high and consistent levels of excellence. I've had the honor and privilege to devote my life to liberal learning as a teacher and scholar, but also as a fierce champion of the liberal arts, as so many modes of inquiry and meaning-making. Their pursuit is, as Martha Nussbaum says, the cultivation of humanity. Thank you, Dr. Davidson, for leading our efforts to bring Phi Beta Kappa to Rollins, and to our Phi Beta Kappa faculty for anchoring our chapter here. Thank you to our colleagues from Phi Beta Kappa representing the national organization. Thank you for looking at Rollins deeply and critically and finding us worthy. And finally, thank you, students and colleagues, for bolstering my hope. You are our reason for being made manifest. In accordance with tradition, I ask everyone to rise for the singing of the Alma Mater, the words of which are to be found on the back of your program. The Alma Mater will be led by students from the Department of Music. Following the Alma Mater, please be seated.
We have reached the conclusion of our ceremony today. In just a moment, the platform party, the charter members of the chapter, the foundation members, followed by our student inductees, will recess. I would ask our guests to please remain seated while we recess. We invite everyone to a reception celebrating this historic occasion in the courtyard between the Annie Russell Theater and Knowles Memorial Chapel. Honored guests, please rise. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, students, and guests, I hereby declare this convocation adjourned. Thank you and congratulations.